the stream now. Well, for City Hall, we have out in the second floor foyer a 75-inch screen. Councillor Rivard and I are here in the Parkdale room, and we have a screen down on the first floor. So it's great. And what I'm going to do first is just take take a roll call. So Councillor McLeod, I can see him, no problem. Councillor Tweel. Are you on there, Councillor Tweel?
I'm here.
Okay. Councillor Yankoff, okay. On has declared conflict of interest because of Deputy Mayor Cody.
I'm here.
Councillor Bernard.
Yeah.
Councillor McCabe.
I'm here.
Councillor Duffy.
I'm here.
And Councillor Rains.
I'm here.
In full attendance. In the room with me is Councillor Rivard and Alex. Greg Morrison he's also here on the second floor. So, call to order of our declarations of conflict.
See none. None.
The agenda, you have Councillor Duffy. You can see that we have reports, 550 University Avenue. That would be read by Councillor Rivard, but is there a mover to approve the agenda?
I'll move it, Your Worship.
Councillor Hampton, moving it.
I'll second it.
Second, Councillor. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
So what I'm going to do now, Councillor Rivard is going to take over, introduce and we'll take it from there. Yeah. Just as a reminder, you can remind them on that. Thank you.
Hey, Your Worship, you were trying to steal my thunder. All right, I got to stand back a little bit just because I'm a bit taller than Mr. Brent. All right. Okay, folks, let's get started here. So this is for 550 University Avenue. This is a request for a site-specific exemption to exceed the maximum building height in the institutional zone in order to allow a 9-story building CI campus to be used as a student residence. All the procedures as outlined in the Charlottetown Zoning and Development Plan have been followed. 58 letters were sent out on the following dates. The original public notification letter was sent out on March 10th, 2020, indicating that the public meeting of the council will be held on March 24th, 2020. A revised public notification letter was sent on March 18th, 2020, indicating that the public meeting of council will be rescheduled to March 30th, 2020. The public notification letter was sent out on March 25th, indicating that the public meeting of council, public notification public meeting canceled due to the COVID social distancing restrictions. The most recent letter dated April 15, 2020 to inform residents that the public meeting is rescheduled to Tuesday, April 28, 2020 at 6 Council Chambers, second floor, City Hall, via video conference or a teleconference, which we are here today. There were 4 letters sent in so far, 2 letters of opposition. And before I introduce our presenters tonight, I just want to say thank you to city staff, IT department, especially for making this possible. This is different times, and being able to host a public meeting in this way is fantastic. So thank you very much. We do have with us Jackie Podger. She is the VP of Administration and Finance at UPI. She will open up with some remarks, and then we'll turn it over to Derek Brennan, who is the architect for the project. With that, Jackie, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks so much, Councillor Rivard. I'm very pleased to be here this evening.
As Derek will explain, we have quite a large building that we're looking to build it's going to house a lot of students, which is great. We're also under a timeline, and we've been working very closely with the Canada Games 2023. We are set to open for them, and the athletes would actually be the first inhabitants of the residence. And so we really need to have this finished as of fall 2022. So we need to get in the ground and get the building moving. Derek Brennan, who's from Andrew McGilvery Architects, has been instrumental in creating the design for us. We've been working together with our team and his team for at least the last 6 to 8 months, trying to come up with exactly the right plan that will meet all of the needs, including Canada 2023, because they have specs that we have to meet as well. So taking that into account has been quite challenging, but I think we've come out with a great final product. And so I'm going to turn it over to Derek to lead you through that. Derek?
All right, thank you, Jackie. This will be interesting. First try for you guys, and we all have lots of meetings like this, but we'll see how the presentation goes as well. I'm just going to share my screen here so you're able to see my slides. There we go. So that's so this is the site plan of the project. We're located on the south end of this. Can everybody hear me all right? Is the sound coming through? Please interrupt if there's any issues with being able to hear me. So it's at the south end of campus, towards University Avenue and Belvedere Avenue, mixed in with the other 3 residential buildings and the student cafeteria. They're all shown in yellow on the plan here, and the new building in the orange colors is what we're building for the next 2 years, I guess, to be ready. Our initial analysis considered many items, including the effects of sunlight, benefits of sunlight and shadow, pedestrian movement through the site, building access, site circulation, scale of campus and surrounding buildings, potential views to downtown, the water, the surrounding areas. These studies informed us the design strategies to help shape the building form and the layout. The building is oriented along University Avenue with a linear low part with 2 residential buildings on the angles at either end. The configuration forms the central courtyard framed by the other student housing, and the south labeled there as the South Tower. It's a 5-story part that extends out into the courtyard, creating 2 separate zones. North of that tower towards Andrew Hall is a pedestrian-only zone, fairly large green area there. And then south of that is a mix of pedestrian and vehicular activity. And the main entrance is located at the south end of this, off the end of the new road and the loops there. It's also along a existing path that was formed through the grass, worn down by students as they're taking that. So it's good access from the intersection as well from the new road and up into the other campuses. And there'll be a secondary entrance strictly for student use at the north end of the campus to give them easy access from the end of the building up to the cafeteria or the dining hall there and the rest of campus. With a large building like this, there is additional parking will be required, and it'll be located along the new road and also expanded a little bit of the parking south of Blanchard Hall residence. These new road and parking area are accessed through existing parking lots and roadways of the university, with the most direct access off of the rotary on Belvedere. So there will be no new access points from either Belvedere or University Avenue to change any of those traffic flows. The next slide here is an aerial view from the west of the west facade. The massing of the building is strategically configured and stepped down to allow the facade and windows buildings to receive direct sunlight a good portion of the day. and also to allow the sun and shadows to kind of play across the interior courtyard. So it's not all full of shade. It's a very pleasant, usable space in there. The orientation of the residential volumes as well allows direct sunlight into each of the student units on both sides of the residential buildings. And natural light is important for any building occupancy, especially when they're spending more time and into their living spaces and into their bedrooms. It's also located on because it's the south end of the campus, it's the lowest portion of it. So it's kind of an ideal spot to have a higher building with the overall height of it related to the roof heights of the other campuses or other buildings on campus. It's more in line with those. The exterior finishes of the new building will take lead from other buildings on campus. It'll be an integrated mix of brick, metal, and glazing. The red brick is used throughout the campus and has been increasingly integrated with metal cladding and glazing in the campus, especially some of the newer buildings on campus, the engineering and the NRC buildings, for instance. The red brick that we're looking at is pretty well the same as what is throughout campus. The metal siding picks up on some of the colors that are already there, as well as the profile. It's a higher, thicker gauge, and it's concealed fasteners for a little bit more of a cleaner look on that. And we're using different widths of reveals and different profiles, as well as changes in orientation and the color and the depth of the panels off the walls to help articulate the different facades and allow some different play of shadow lines on those reveals to kind of create different effects as the sun tracks through the day. This is the view from of the main entrance, looking from the access road, kind of between Andrew Hall on the right and Blanchard Hall on the left. It's located in the 2-story horizontal part, and you can see kind of on either side of the brick, the angled brick 5-story part of the building there, that you can see the continuity of the exterior design features of that, as well. The interior spaces continue through that section of the building as well to open up to different, give a greater lobby for the residential and some of the little more public spaces in that area. This is a view from the front doors of Blanchard Hall, which is at the south of the most southern residential building. You can see the main entrance there on the left and some of the different building volumes, the courtyard that's created, and the student entrance further back at the other end of the courtyard. You also see the higher part of the building, the 9-story part. With buildings of this height, there's extra fire protection measures that are in place for buildings like this. Some of those include higher fire resistance ratings from floor to floor and around stairwells. The building is entirely sprinklered. There's a full sprinkler system, as well as standpipes in the stairwells for firefighters to access and hook up hoses to. Also in the high part, there's a smoke exhaust system to evacuate smoke directly to the outside on any particular floor if there ever is a fire incident on there. And that smoke system, as well as the fire alarm system and the voice communication system through the building, can be accessed from a single room for the firefighters directly off of the main entrance. As we swing around to the south side, from the intersection of Belvedere and University Avenues, you can see the 5-story residential portion on an angle there, and the 2-story portion of the long linear part of the building that protrudes through that. And you see the glass lobby in the front entrance canopy sticking out there to give a presence from the street and from the public side of the building. On the end of the building, you can start to see some of the glazing features. The student lounges are mostly located in those areas, the most public spaces of the student residences on the floors, giving access to daylight and to views for the social spaces, so that most of the students will be able to benefit from from those spaces. And this is a view from University Avenue looking towards the south, towards downtown. You can see Bernardine Hall on the left there as well, kind of hidden behind the trees. A number of the trees are kind of ghosted out. The intent is to maintain those along that streetscape as well. And a number of steps have been taken to mitigate the overall mass of the building. The tallest part of the building is set back from University Avenue and buffered by the lower height volumes, the 5, 4, and 2 stories on the front there. Also, the intersection of the volumes and the mix of materials present smaller facade planes and articulation around the building. If we had used larger expanses of a single material, it would have made some of those volumes and faces. They would all appear more massive than what we have here now. Also, the high part is at the north end of the building, which is the upper part of the slope. So it is set. The first floor is set a little bit into the ground to help reduce that height a little bit further. And from the campus end, see the building between the dining hall entrance on the left and Bernardine on the right. And that end of the building is where the entrance will be for the student direct access on the lower part of that end wall. And this is a west elevation along University Avenue. So you can see some of the articulation of the building in the different intersections of the volumes. The lower part, the lower linear 2-story part, houses some of the public spaces as well. There's a few classrooms in there. The main classroom will be an opaque facade if they're going to be using it for larger lectures, or the theater group performing arts can take advantage of the space as well. Whereas some of the circulation space, the lobby, the student spaces, some of the smaller classrooms are more glazed to allow more transparency and light through the buildings and visual connections to some of the different building spaces and activities surrounding the areas. And you can also see more on the ends of the buildings where we have the glazing, where the other student lounges or the public spaces would be there to encourage more pleasant spaces for social interactions among the students. Those are most of the main features and concepts that we've integrated into the building, UP as New Residence Building. So maybe I'll turn it back over to the host, and if there's any other questions for Jackie or myself for the project.
Okay, so thank you, Derek. Great presentation. Jackie, I'm just going to turn it over to Councillor Rivard to sum up, make a few remarks, and then we'll open the floor. Questions from board members, councillors, and any of the public that are viewing today. Councillor Rivard.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Derek, for the presentation. Before I turn it back over to the mayor to open the floor for questions, I just want to remind the public that we are accepting written submissions up to April the 30th at noon. So this Thursday, April 30th at noon. Send in your submissions to the planning department. And with that, I'll turn it back over to your worship. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rivard. So the best way to do this is we're going to open it up, and we do allow for presentations or allow presenters to give their views, but please try to keep it within the 5 minutes. And you can call in, you can tie into our Cisco WebEx system also. So the floor is open. Be quiet out there.
Take it off mute.
Jackie, do you want to add anything while we're waiting? And if the call does come in, we'll just allow that caller to be.
Sure. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Derek, but we've got about 260 room for 260 students. It's a large building. It's about 185,000 square feet. There are, as Derek mentioned, there are classrooms, and there also is a large classroom / theater that we're looking to house up to 400 seats. I just wanted to add that in as well.
Okay. Theater and as you said, breakout classrooms too, right, Jackie?
Yes, the theater is also going to be used as a classroom because we want it to be multifunctional. So when it's not being in use as a theater, it will be used as a classroom as well, because with the increased number of students, we need a room of that size. We don't have a room of that size right now.
Okay. Derek, you want to add anything, any more information, or you covered all your points?
No, I think so. Jackie was cutting out a little bit there, so 260 students was the I think we've got in there right now, and a minimum of, depending on the configuration of the rooms for Canada Winter Games, it'll be over 1,500 athletes at a time in the same facility there. So.
Okay. So while we're waiting, if any councillors want to ask questions for clarification, or planning board members, just indicate by I'm ready to speak. I'm just about made the invite out. Councillor McLeod? Oh, you're on mute. Oh, I'm muted. There you are. Good, sir.
Good, sorry. Yeah, so just first of all, I want to say thank you very much for the presentation, both to the juries. As you can see, there's a lot of people to say thank you to, probably, but at the end of the day, it looks it's actually much greater expectations than I thought it was going to be, and how it looks. So just want to say hats off for that. And from a traffic congestion there at the roundabout, any concerns there? That's been thoroughly looked at, I'm sure.
Jackie, do you want to provide any input, and then I'll ask Alex to give some opinions. You want to say anything to it, Jackie?
Sure. We're not anticipating because the actual roundabout is down a bit from where this particular residence is located. So there is going to be additional parking allocated as well for this building. So we're thinking right now that there will not be any traffic jams around that particular roundabout.
Okay, but the new, if I may, the new road will come out to the roundabout though eventually, right? Like where
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. The rest, it'll come to the roundabout, or it connects to the loop, or goes all the way around the other main end as well.
Right.
But just by the nature of the building as well, student residents are not going to have a lot of traffic at one point coming and going either. It'll be people coming sporadic. The parking is for people who are living there, so it's everybody coming to campus all at once for 8 o'clock or work, that sort of thing. So it'll be, if there is traffic, it'll be quite spread out, and I don't think much effect on the additional portion of it, just by the nature of what the parking is for.
Councillor McLeod, I have Alex just to provide any background or more information on the.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, Alex.
That'd be good.
So just in regard to your question, I agree with what the proponents are indicating in regard to traffic. The traffic is being funneled back into the existing UPEI network, and it's being funneled out to places where it's designed to do that. Notwithstanding, we are working, presently the city is working on a study of that entire area, both UPEI, Towers Road, that area. So if that study does indicate that there's other opportunities to mitigate some of that traffic at the university, I'm sure that they're more than welcome to work with us to improve the traffic circulation internally at the university.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you, and again, congratulations, guys. It's a wonderful project.
Okay. Any other comments, Councillor Yancock or Councillor Duffy?
Yes, I do have one question for Jackie. wondering about the performance space theater. Can you just kind of click that a little bit up, more so out of curiosity? What are you thinking? Is it a black box theater? Is it a space for the music students? Just curiosity is really more than anything.
Sure, thank you for the question. It will be used for our music program. It will also be used for our performing arts. It will also be used, as I said, for classrooms. We also could look to use it for our various convocations. So it's absolutely multi-purpose. And as I said, we have been growing, as you know, Councillor Yankos, and we've got almost 5,000 students now, and we anticipate that's going to get a bit more. I know COVID's interfered a little bit, but we're hoping to even exceed that number. And so with that, we have to have bigger classrooms, especially for our first year classes. And so this will help us in that endeavor. And the second point is it will really help us too with conferences, because we don't have a large conference space, and this can be used for that as well.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Jackie, it's also a replacement for the steel recital hall, correct?
It's not going to replace the steel recital hall. We're still going to have the steel recital hall, but it will certainly accentuate that. It will have, bigger rooms for folks to practice, and also rooms for them to create sets, which we don't have right now.
Okay, thank you.
I just have one word.
Councilor Bernard?
For Jackie. Jackie, just on the track, I think is there not a road going in at the back between the soccer complex down to University?
Yes, so we're building that road. We started it last year, and we're going to continue with that. And we also have to submit our design to the city to extend that out, actually, with the hope that we can attach the road to the current lights at Edmund Crescent and have that so that it makes actually a four-way light. It's a three-way light now. But that also would be helpful because that's another entrance and exit off University Ave.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions, concerns from the planning board members? Oh, maybe Greg. Greg, just hold on. Greg Morrison's going to ask a question. Greg?
Hi, Jackie. I saw the site plan there. It looks a little more updated than the one I saw previously. There was a number of parking spaces added, but I was wondering if that's the only location where new parking was being proposed, and if there was any other parking lot, or what the total number of proposed parking is in addition for this building.
Actually, I think I might flip that over to Derek right now. That is right now the only additional added parking lot that we have put in place to date. Derek, can you remind me how many spots get added there?
I think the total with about 20 along New Road angle ones and the new parking area, I think there's about 8 in total. We haven't done a complete layout of the new parking area either, and that'll be part of the site development as we continue. But the total new space, I believe, is around 8.
880?
80, yes.
Yes, 80.
Yeah, 80. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that ties in with the overall parking analysis on the campus. It all ties in together.
And Derek, just to follow up on the 80, will they be in front of the Blanchard Hall and that cul-de-sac that you're looking at on the southwest part of the new residence?
I think it'll be about 80 in total.
Oh, 80 in total. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
Your Worship? Your Worship?
Yep. You ready to go, Councillor Tweel?
Yes, I am.
Yep.
I want to thank Jackie for her presentation and the architect. Just a few questions. first question I have is, with regards to the traffic and the increase in traffic, is there any thought been given to having a traffic study, particularly in Belvedere Avenue? We talked about the roundabout, and just wondering if it would be advantageous to embark upon a traffic study.
I don't know if we would embark upon the traffic study.
Okay, do you want to add to that, Alex? Councillor Twill, Alex is coming to the podium here to address that issue. Alex?
So, Councillor Twill, we are, as we speak, working to do some traffic calculations around UPI and the Charlottetown Mall and the Towers Road area. The university has some requests, as Ms. Podger has relayed, in regard to where they would like to connect back to University Avenue. But those things we're going to have to work out once the study is prepared. And but I think that those are things that we can work out to ensure that traffic circulation in the university, the entire university property, is going to be more efficient in the future. And this will be one component, because if we open up another access, and if the traffic study indicates that that proposed connection to University Avenue is acceptable, it's going to alleviate existing pressure there and provide more opportunities. And I don't want to go into a lot of details now because I don't want to raise expectations, but I do think they have a number of ways to distribute traffic through the entire university property, which will help this project, but help the university in general. So we are somewhat working with the university on that.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Can you please tell me who would take the lead on the traffic study?
The city is, as a part of major work that's going on in the city at this time, we have just recently added to that traffic study to focus on this area of the city in general, because there's a lot of development pressure there, both Towers Road and on the university property. So we've got some partners here that are working with us to come out with the solutions to improving traffic flow in that entire area of the city.
Okay, because if you take into consideration on Saturdays, for example, when the farmers market is open, the traffic is backed right up into University Avenue. And I know that's an isolated case. Nonetheless, it speaks to the traffic congestion. So I'm certainly looking forward to further analysis and assessment with respect to traffic flow and traffic congestion, and where there's going to be opportunities and options. Because it's something we got to be really take into consideration and make sure that when this new facility is built, that we're not going to add to the traffic congestion.
And the only thing that I would add further to the traffic study is, because of the existing situation, we can't take traffic counts because obviously there's less traffic. So there's a little bit of, we're going to have to sort of work with the university and in that area of the city to wait till things get back to normal, because you do all these calculations based upon your traffic flows, which are incredibly reduced right now, but hopefully things will be.
And thank you, Alex. The other thing I think we should take note is maybe some more opportunities for the transit, just not only stop in front of University Avenue, but there might be other intervals throughout the university campus that that we can have students and instructors and visitors to the campus to utilize the transit would take less emphasis off of the vehicle traffic.
Absolutely, and so those are things that we're working on. We've been working on that question that you've asked even before this project. So this has been an ongoing initiative, but again, we had a little bit of a slowdown because of the realities. We literally can't take these numbers right now, but that's going to happen as soon as things get back to normal.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Your Worship, I have few more questions.
Right ahead, Councillor Tweed.
Thank you. A question the second question I have for Jackie is, as you know, during a couple of meetings of City Council, we had public planning meetings. There was concern about residents, student residents off campus. And my question is, during the spring and summer semesters, will this new residence be available to students that do not want to leave the campus and have that opportunity to stay there from an affordable perspective?
It certainly will be available. And I'll give you an example we're dealing with right now. Our exams are finished. We are going into our spring and summer sessions, which will be all online. We have approximately 85 students that will remain in residence for the entire summer. So absolutely, they'll be able to stay in that residence as well.
Okay. My third question is, there's a bit of an illustration with respect to the courtyard, and from an aesthetics or an ambiance perspective, and I'm sure it hasn't been defined yet. What do you envision for the courtyard in terms of being an added feature for the campus and reaching that potential?
So what we see in the courtyard currently is we see students either using it for a soccer pitch. We see them using it around throwing a ball, baseball. I haven't seen cricket yet, but I probably will. And so I would envision that area would be used by students for an athletic area, but also we would be able to set up areas where students could congregate. So we would have different benches, maybe a few tables that are obviously weather hardy, and areas where the students could congregate when weather is there. As well as, we have to remember, this building is also going to be used for conferences. So we want to be able to have areas where folks who are here for a conference can congregate. So that's what I would envision right now, Councillor Trill.
Okay, and my last question is, there's been discussion with regard to the new entrance in off University Avenue by the Alumni Building. And you said yourself you want to line it up and create an intersection there with Edmund Crescent. A few years ago, when University Avenue was widened 4 lanes, there was some consideration given to an underground pedway. And I wondered if now would be the time, considering we're looking at traffic flows and traffic congestions and better access into the university. From a pedestrian perspective, would the university be interested in pursuing, or at least experimenting or exploring, that opportunity of an underground pedway, which would make it safer for the students to commute back and forth to the university campus underground and not have to worry about that 4 lanes of traffic? To my mind, that would be a lot safer and a lot securer for residents of the university, students or professors or people that are visiting the campus, and not have to contend or combat with that intense, very intense vehicle traffic. And I bring that underground pedway up as maybe that's something that we could explore collectively.
Jackie?
Sure. We certainly could look to it. I think probably Charlottetown Police would want to have some insight into it as well, because they do have just north of that a crosswalk, and I know that can sometimes pose some issues. The road that we're looking at building that would link up to Edmund will have a pedestrian path attached to it if everything is approved. So we could certainly look at it again. It is not, it's not cheap to build that road that we were doing, but we think it's necessary. And certainly from a perspective willing to look at it, we would also, though, have to take into consideration, obviously, the potential cost, added cost of that. And structurally, if it's able to be done, I don't know.
So, Councillor Trio?
Thank you, Your Worship. I bring that up because I think now is the time to explore that, and there's infrastructure dollars both from a provincial and federal. There's all kinds of infrastructure dollars, and this might be the time to take a very serious look at constructing an underground pedway, which from safety and security perspective, there's been a number of accidents at that Enmont University Avenue area, and the traffic. I want to reiterate and emphasize that the traffic is extremely intensive. So from a proactive point of view, I think now's the time to have a look at an underground pedway. I really do.
No, I fully agree with you, Councillor. I believe that Jackie and Derek are just really trying to get the whole idea of the presentation of the new student residents discussed early so that we can get feedback. But that intersection upgrade is a second phase of this project. And I understand what you're saying, Councillor. Any other views? Thank you, Councillor Twill. Concerns? So we haven't received any call-ins or requests from WebEx, and we've been on line now for almost 35 minutes, excluding the presentation from Jackie and Derek. So I'm going to ask another time if there are any questions, concerns from board members, councillors, before I ask for an adjournment.
Your Worship?
Yes, sir.
There's still an opportunity for consultation from the constituents in the city. And what was the cutoff date again? Is it April 30th? Councillor
Twill, I'm just going to bring Councillor Rivard to the podium again, just to outline further input, consultation. Let him present it.
Thank you, Your Worship. So you asking when written complaints or in letters in favor can be received by the planning board or the planning staff? Is that what you're asking?
That's what I'm asking. I mean, I did receive an email late last night, and the residents thought the cutoff date or the period for consultation and collaboration had been exhausted. So I'm going to send an email to them tonight to say that they still have that opportunity.
So the deadline is this Thursday, April 30th at noon. So anything you have from residents, you can forward in, and you can email the residents to send it to the planning department.
And just planning at Charlottetown.ca.
Yes, planning at Charlottetown.ca.
Sure.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you, Councillor Twill. And if any of the other councils want to send that message out to constituents, please do so. So, hearing no other contributions or points of view, could I ask for a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councillor Rivard, seconded by Councillor Yankoff. I don't think I have to do a roll call for this. All those in favor, please indicate by yay.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, and thank you very much. Thank you to the planning staff. Thank you to the IT services. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Derek. And all planning board members. Thank you and have a
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.